Hello, and welcome back to Talk of the Town. And this is a 30th anniversary special on Vincent Chin Remembrance Day. And, and we are going to talk about a tragic event that happened 30 years ago where a young teenager was brutally beaten and ultimately, beaten till he died, and it was a case of mistaken identity, and it was in the 80s at the height of negative sentiments towards Japanese people because of the motor industry, the automotive industry, and this happened in Detroit. And Vincent was a young promising Chinese American, but he was mistaken for a Japanese American, and he was beaten brutally with a baseball bat, and he didn't survive that. And unfortunately, the perpetrators went. They were just fined. They were not jailed. They had to pay a fine. And to this day, they have not served a day in jail. So June 23rd is the 30th anniversary coming up for when this incident happened. And the Asian American community back then took a stand. There were rallies all across the country. And even today, it still comes up, and the Asian American community is quite upset about what happened. And so on June 23rd, there's going to be a national town hall in which 30 cities are going to be participating. We're going to have discussions and speakers to take a look at what the status of the Asian community was back then and where we stand today. So I am privileged to, I'm privileged to have Curtis Chin on the phone with us from Los Angeles. And Curtis is an award-winning movie producer and also a writer, and he produced a documentary on what happened to Vincent Chin. And this documentary was filmed at the Thomas Crane Library, and Curtis had come here, and we had a lively discussion, about the movie after we watched it. And Curtis is, has won a lot of awards. He's appeared on NBC, ABC, Disney Channel, and he is a member of the Writers Guild of America, and also he is quite active in the Asian American community. And he helped President Obama reach out to the Asian American community when he was running for election the last time. So so we have Curtis on the phone, and here in the studio I have Van Lee, and she is the chair for the Boston chapter of the Vincent, what we call Vin30 Remembrance Day event. And we're going to talk to her more about what's being planned here. But I would like to welcome Curtis. Curtis, can you hear us?
Yes, thank you for inviting me to your show.
No, it's knowing how busy you've been, organizing. It's not easy to get people across the country. 30 cities is a lot of cities, and you're putting in a lot of work, and you're doing good work. And this is a very, very important cause. So I thank you for taking the time to be with us today and help us understand what happened to Vincent, and how the Asian American community can, come together and, help remain strong and help each other, and be compassionate and supportive of each other. So for starters, I just wanted to, if you could tell our audience, your connection to Vincent. If I think you knew him, and you know how you got started on this town hall and getting organizing the Asian American community.
Yeah, this is definitely a story that I remember as a kid. For those viewers who might not be familiar, Vincent Chin was a Chinese American in Detroit in the 1980s who was about to celebrate his upcoming wedding, and he went out to celebrate with his friends, and he ended up at a bar with, and at some point these two white auto workers came in and said, "It's because of you mother blank that we're out of work." And at some point in the evening, these two guys actually get in their car and they drive around until they find Vincent sitting outside of McDonald's, and they take a baseball bat out of their car and they bash his head in, killing Vincent. And to make matters worse, the judge only fined them $3,000, and these two men never served a single day in jail. Now, I was a younger person at that time. He was a family friend, but we weren't related. And I just remember this case vividly, even the details when we first heard about Vincent being attacked, him being in the hospital, and then him passing away, and all the nightly news reports about it. And so it definitely is a case that shaped my perspective of the justice in America. The 30th, when the 25th anniversary was coming up about 5 years ago, I really wanted to help with that. And so our organization, Asian Pacific Americans for Progress, which Dan is a member of and part of our Boston efforts, we put together a series of town halls in 14 cities to talk about hate crimes. And after that, we actually produced the documentary Vincent Who, which Kumu just referenced, that we actually had a screening in Quincy in the spring. And now that it's 30 years afterwards, we just keep building momentum, and we're actually up to 40 cities this time in 25 states, all coordinating a nationwide Google Hangout to happen on the same day and time. And so we're really quite excited that people are remembering this case, because it really, really is an important case, and it's really a wonderful opportunity for our community to come together and not just talk about the case, but more importantly, find out where we are now with all the recent activities, all the recent incidents affecting our community.
Yeah, I was at the screening, and when you were in Quincy, and the thing out of everything that really got to me deep down was just before he closed his eyes for the last time, he said, "Why me?" And it's in such an innocent, way to, just, it's a cry of a child. It's like saying, "Why me? Why are you doing this to me? I mean, I didn't even do anything." And that is the tragedy of the whole thing, that a young promising teenage young man looking towards a bright future, getting ready to step into his new life with his spouse, and right at that juncture when it's the happiest moment of one's life, he had to lose his life. And it was almost it's a senseless crime, if you will. It's a senseless crime to lose your life like that. So that is what really got to me, and I really felt bad when I heard that, when he said, "Why me?" So it is definitely important, definitely important for the community for us to take a stand, and to see how we can make things better, educate people, even just simple things like, what is the difference between Chinese American versus Japanese American versus Vietnamese versus Indian? I mean, even Asians. I mean, a lot of times people come up to me and say, "Oh, is Middle East part of Asia?" And we still don't know if Middle East is part of Asia. So I mean, I grew up in the Middle East, and to me, it's a completely separate thing. Arabs are different, Asians are different. geographically. So even educating people on just on the geography itself, that's something that starts in school, and it's very, very important. So can you tell us a little bit about this Google Hangout, and who are the confirmed speakers, and who you hope to get, and what would be the nature of the town hall, what you're hoping to accomplish?
Sure. The event is happening Saturday, June 23rd, in locations in 40 cities around the country. There's actually going to be an event in Boston, which Van can talk a little bit more about, like the specifics. But basically, it's an event that's going to start at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time and 11 a.m. here on the West Coast where I'm at. But it's going to be a Google Hangout, which is basically a video conference call with participants from several cities, including Philadelphia, D.C., Detroit, San Francisco. And it will be led by a very popular blogger in the community, a man named Phil Yu, who blogs at Angry Asian Man. But some of the guests that we have on the program include Congresswoman Judy Chu, who will be here from Los Angeles, Zara Ballou from the Council on American Islamic Relations from San Francisco, Tom Hayashi from OCA in Detroit, Amardeep Singh from the Sikh Coalition in New York City, and Nimua from the Asian American Justice Center in D.C. So while these might not be household names, trust me, these are the leading voices in terms of the Asian American civil rights movement and the people working in our community on these very, very important issues. And so we're very honored that they're all able to participate in this program. And as I mentioned, the Hangout is a video conference call, and so basically there'll be viewing parties around the country in 40 cities where people will gather to watch this town hall, but then afterwards they will then participate in a local activity. And every city is slightly different in terms of what they're going to do. Some of them are going to show our documentary, Vincent Who, but others are going to have like additional panels. Some of them are actually going to have poetry readings. Some are going to have readings of excerpts from a play. So it's really whatever the local community, how they choose to respond. So it's a good mix of both nationally bringing our community together, but also reminding that all politics is local, and really finding out what the local community is interested in. And again, I'm sure Van can talk a lot about what is being planned for the Boston event.
Oh, okay. So I know that you are right in the midst of pulling everything together. So before we let you go, I just wanted to get your thoughts on what is your message, and what would you like people to think about and come away from from this town hall, and just the whole issue about Asian Americans, where they were 30 years ago and where they stand today.
Well, the issues of hate crimes and bullying and hazing and things like that is obviously an issue that our community still deals with. And I think that our community needs to do a much better job of remembering past injustices so that they don't happen again. When you look at other civil rights communities, whether it's the Jewish American community in the Holocaust, gays and lesbians with Stonewall or Matthew Shepard, or African Americans and Emmett Till, there's a sense of remembering and honoring that history as a way of learning and moving forward. And I think it's something that we as Asian Americans and Pacific Islanders can learn from and use that to help strengthen us and our community and address the current needs that we have. And so I think that ultimately is what we hope to get out of this, remembering and honoring our past, pulling ourselves to mobilize for the future. And we are really so excited to have everybody involved nationally. Really, so many people have come on board with this, all the leading organizations nationally, from all different fields. And it's just great to see the community so united for such an event.
Yeah, and I think it's also important for people to stand up and ask for justice, to to have your voice heard, because as it was portrayed in the movie, and also, you were saying that Vincent was the only bread earner in his family, and the support for his aging mom. And then after he was not there anymore, she had to find a way to survive. And these people who beat him, they, I think, at one point they stopped paying the money, and so, which was supposed to go towards helping Vincent's mother, meet her, expanding to live. And I believe also you mentioned something that there is a fund that's been set up in Vincent's name, which people can donate to, which which went to helping his mom, and then also towards activities to raise more awareness about what happened to Vincent.
Yeah, Vincent's mom is a really amazing woman who unfortunately passed away a few years ago. But during this whole time of the trial and afterwards, she really came out and spoke on behalf of her son. And, when you think of a person, a civil rights leader, you don't often think of a woman, you don't think of a middle-aged woman, an immigrant, someone who doesn't speak perfect English, someone, who didn't necessarily, go to college. But here she was out there on the front line talking about her personal loss and really being a champion for our whole community, and really an inspiring woman. And, if you ever get a chance, if you watch our film or if you see any other clips of her, you can't help but being moved. And in fact, one of the things that did come out of this case specifically is this notion of family members being able to testify during a sentencing phase of a case, and that is directly because of her and people responding and recognizing that, family members are also affected when crimes happen. In terms of what happened to her after the death, unfortunately, her husband had just died a few months earlier. Vincent was her only son, and she really had nothing else, in her life, and she just hopped around from family member to family member until she finally passed away. And unfortunately, these two killers have never taken responsibility. They've never apologized. To this day, they still owe money to the family as part of the out-of-court settlement that they reached, and they just refuse to pay up. And so the Vincent Chin estate has been trying to pursue these payments for the last 20-odd years, and that's what they're trying to do. Unfortunately, they haven't had much luck, with these two gentlemen. So in terms of supporting the family, there is a Vincent Chin Scholarship Fund that's being run out of a group called the American Citizens for Justice in Detroit, and I think they have a college scholarship for young people interested in getting involved in social justice work. So people are welcome to support the family there. If you're interested in supporting our organization, Asian Pacific Americans for Progress, we also have a lot of work that we'll be doing on this issue this year, particularly with being an election year and the importance of electing progressive candidates. It's something that we would like to engage in. There's also the trial of Denny Chen that's going to be happening in North Carolina that we'd love to be able to support, bringing people down there. So there's definitely a need, and if anybody wants to support, our organization, they could also go to AsianPacificAmericans4Progress.org and just join as a member. It's $20 a year, but your money will be well spent in terms of being able to promote our community.
Okay. All right. And thank you so much, Curtis, for taking the time to be with us and tell us about Vincent's story. And we'll find out more about the local Boston activities around this from Van Lee. And we wish you best of luck and for the town hall. And I know I'll be participating in that, and Van Lee, and as many people as we can get, and we'll get more information from Van as well. So thank you so much for being with us on the phone all the way from Los Angeles.
Thank you, and thank you for taking doing what you do, and getting the word out about all these important issues in this community. And I really do hope that this is the continuation of a great relationship, because it is important for us to work across geography and other differences to unite our community. So keep up the great work in Boston, and we look forward to seeing everybody on June 23rd. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye bye. So that was a good conversation we just had.
Excellent, yes.
Yeah, I think Curtis has been making day and night one, putting in long hours, just like you and all the other organizers around the country. I've been in on some of the conference calls, and the planning has been extensive, and it's amazing to see so much support. Even today, 30 years later.
Right.
So let me start by asking, how did you come to know about this, and how did you get involved in this cause?
So I think it was around 2008 that I was working at Northeastern University, and we brought actually Curtis in to show, do a screening of Vincent Hu for our students. So I met Curtis at that time. But prior to that, I mean, I have known about the Vincent Chin case for a long time. I mean, I learned about it in college, and I remember it really resonating with me, because that was one of the first times that Asian Americans actually rallied together to kind of call for justice. I mean, prior to that, there weren't really big events that brought people together. So that kind of stood, it always stayed with me. And so when I saw Curtis again recently, he told me about the 30th anniversary and how he was working on putting together a national town hall, and we just through conversation, I was definitely very interested in getting involved with the organization and most definitely the event. So we started talking, and it just sort of took off from there, and I took over with the planning of the Boston viewing party.
Okay, I know you've been hard at work too, because you've had meetings and springing for pizza and trying to get people together, but it's
food to try to get people as always.
yes, it's an important cause. So do you want to tell us a little bit about what's being planned for Boston?
Sure. So prior to the town hall, leading up to the event, I'm working with Susan Chinson of the Boston Asian American Film Festival to do actually a screening of Vincent Hu. It's the Boston Asian American Film Festival is also sponsored by AARW, the Asian American Resource Workshop. And that's going to be, so next Tuesday, June 19th, it's going to be at Tufts Medical Center at 7 p.m. It's I think it's 800 Washington Street. So that is actually the anniversary of the incident, June 19th. And then June 23rd is actually the anniversary of the death. So I think it's a good event to lead up to the National Town Hall on Saturday. So if anybody is interested, again, it's next Tuesday, June 19th at 7 p.m. at Tufts Medical Center, and I think it's 800 Washington Street. If you have any questions, feel free to email me. I can be reached at VAN, at APA for Progress. That's APAFORPROGRESS.org. So that's the first thing that we're working on. And so then Saturday, we will all at Northeastern University tune into the National Town Hall. We will open doors at 1:30 p.m. And it'll be hosted at the Northeastern University Asian American Center, and it's located on 109 Hemingway Street. And again, if you have any questions about that, feel free to email me. But that would be an opportunity for local activists, community members, educators, whoever wants to learn more or get more involved or just wants to get together to reflect, for us to all view the National Town Hall together. Which starts at 2 p.m. on the Google Hangout. And afterwards, we're going to have a small, sort of an intimate discussion with each other about, just how we feel, reflections, moving forward, any thoughts on what we can do, or just a local discussion about anything from the Vincent Chin incident to, you know, recent hate crimes to bullying. So we'll follow up that way.
Oh, okay. Okay. And so, is there a website or a Facebook page where all of this information is available?
Yes. So we do have a Facebook page for the group for the Asian Pacific Americans for Progress Boston chapter. So if you're interested in joining the group, it's an open group. I think you just have to search for it. It would be APA, or Asian Pacific Americans for Progress Boston. And from there, you just join the group, and you'll also see there's the event for the Vincent Chin 30 that you can look up. But again, if you can't find that, you can email me at van@apaforprogress.org, and I'll certainly send you all that information.
Right.
And also, well, the larger website, the APA, the Asian Pacific Americans for Progress.org website is the national website. It also will give you some information about the local event as well.
Yeah, and you have a flyer here which we had up.
Yes.
Do you want to hold the flyer
Oh,
up?
this is the. You want me to hold it? I don't know if you can see it, but.
Yeah, they had it up before.
Oh, they did. They had it up. Yeah.
So this flyer, you can if anybody wants these flyers to put up in their in their office or wherever, you can always email them.
Yes, and definitely we're in touch with local Asian American organizations, and I think Boston is a great community, and it's a very active community, and there are a lot of things going on, but I think APA for Progress and this anniversary and this event is really an opportunity for us to get together and kind of reflect nationally.
Yes.
Because locally it's great, and it's one of the things I love about this community. We're small enough, we're connected enough, but nationally we don't really get a chance to sort of get involved with the larger thing, larger event and connect that way. So.
Yeah, I think President Obama touched on this when he recently spoke at a gathering for the Asian Americans in Congress. So during the Asian American Heritage Month, which was in May. So he did mention briefly about what happened to Vincent. So so it's important to have these kind of dialogues, and not just that, but to make progress and to see, I think definitely the Asian community has come a long way, and especially the younger generation, they go to, they're in school here, and I think they've come a long way. But still, sometimes when you hear about something like this, it just shakes you.
Right. I mean, you think about it, and this happened, in the 80s, and you would hope that, in 2000, and at this time, that these kind of things won't happen anymore. And I think you're just reminded when cases like the Danny Chen case come up, you're just reminded that really maybe we haven't, progressed that much. And as a community, we really can't be complacent. I mean, we really have to stand up and, call for justice when these things happen, because it's very difficult when if no one draws attention to these kinds of things. People tend to assume that we're past it, but in reality there are a lot of things, not just Danny Chen, but little incidents like this still happening, and it's a tragedy, to just let things go and not do anything about it. So I think it's important for us to stand up together, with a collective voice.
Right, and to know your rights, and
right.
Because the Asian culture tends to be a little bit on the reserve side. People are, tend to be quieter. At least the older generation, they're like, okay, we don't want to complain. We don't want to raise a, ruckus. We want to make a ruckus, and so we have to learn that no, it is your right to ask for justice, and if something happens, that there is help out there. A simple phone call like a 911. People, and this goes for anything, even like domestic violence. People don't call. They just they don't want to be embarrassed, or they don't want to take a risk.
Right.
So.
I think people need the encouragement and the support to do so, because it can be difficult to speak out about anything from small to big. So I think support is a big thing. I mean, within our community, we really have to support each other in from small to big causes, and so.
Right.
Yeah.
Now, I think you had the DVD of Vincent Hu.
I did, except.
Oh, you have it. Don't have it. But that's okay.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I think it's just. I was going to hold it up, but
yeah, that's okay.
But if you just come to the screening next Tuesday, you can see the whole documentary that Curtis Chin actually produced.
Right, and actually there is also a website where it's
VincentWhoFilm.com?
No, not film.
Which one? The movie?
Movie.
There's two different websites out there actually.
So
if you just Google Vincent Hu, you'll be able to find things online.
Right, and this link with VincentWhoMovie.com, you can watch it for free on there. So Curtis uploaded the movie there.
Right, but yeah, it's always nice to get out and watch it with other people. So hopefully, we'll get a good turnout on next Tuesday for the showing. But definitely, we're all busy. So if you can't get to it, it is on the Vincent Hu Movie website as well.
Okay. And so once we are past the June 23rd, do you have more activities? Is there a way for people to stay engaged and talk about this issue?
We hope so. I mean, this is my first year chairing the Boston chapter of Asian Pacific Americans for Progress. And as Curtis mentioned earlier, it's an election year. It's a very important year. So we want to make sure that we get out there and sort of help support, progressive causes and policies and campaigns. And so I'd really love to see this event as sort of a kickoff to different things that we can do. I have ideas. I hope that can get a core group of people to work with. It's and brainstorm on different things, from education to activism. Definitely try to do a little bit more connection with the national level. So it's in the works, and I hope to definitely use this as an opportunity to kick off more events.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I hope that our viewers will come to the viewing of the town hall and engage in discussions, and even if you are not able to just to be aware of these issues and talk amongst your friends and be supportive just in your own community is a good start. So
right, and I think it's personal for me. I mean, I'm involved because I don't want to remain complacent, and I want to do something. And so I think APA for Progress is just one way that you can do so. And if you're interested in politics, we certainly are out there. We hope to get involved with the Elizabeth Warren campaign, but we definitely want to support the progressive policies, so that we make sure that behind the scenes there's support for those things, or else there's a lot of other things that we can do, but we do have to do something.
Right.
And joining an organization or getting involved with an organization is probably the easiest way to do it. To just get together with other people, to kind of get involved.
Right. And as a former vice chair of the Quincy Human Rights Commission, I'm sensitive towards hate crimes and issues that have to do with disparities between different cultures, and myself, of course, being Indian American and Asian American, I'm in tune with these issues as well. So
right, and the biggest thing is. Most likely we'll have events that just raise awareness, because that's the key. I mean, we have to raise awareness, or people don't really know, why. They won't understand why why is there a need to actually do something or get involved. So, first off is just raising awareness about different things that are happening in the community, different things that have happened in the community, and, what we want to prevent.
Right. So As we wind up the show, would you mind giving out your email once more?
Oh, sure. It's a long one,
Yeah,
but it's Van. So it's Van, VAN at APAFORPROGRESS.org. So Van at APAforprogress.org.
Yes, and we do have it up on the screen
Oh,
as well.
perfect.
Yeah, so if you want to
Makes it easier.
Yeah, and if you want to contact me, certainly I can also provide some information, and you can email me at kumu@kumutv.com. And if you'd like to be a guest on our next show, you could look up the website www.kumutv.com, and also email me on that as well. So until next time, au revoir.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah.